Okay. All set? We good? Ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Home Position, the podcast where we talk about all things Formula One from the comfortable position of our, various spots in our home. We are your hosts. There's Javi back there, if you can see. We are your hosts, Javier and Leslie Rodriguez. We are in different rooms in our house trying to do the Zoom video thing again. Because
this is all for YouTube. We're doing this for YouTube. Like I got you. Hey.
We are that high tech. We are coming to you with the British Grand Prix edition, and it was such a good one. Such a good race.
Best race of the season so far.
Absolutely best race. Yeah. And if it's the best race in the season, and this season is one of the best for racing, like the story was amazing last season, but the racing is some of the best. I mean, for sure the best that we've seen since we started watching. So
yeah, it was really good.
It was an amazing, amazing race. And it was extra bonus for us because we actually got to watch it in real time. Even though we had girls throwing tantrums, we got to watch it in real time, which was really nice. And there were no spoilers, which was really fun to get to actually watch it without having to worry about any spoilers. So yeah, and it was a Ferrari win. Sorry, excuse us. We are going to be coughing a little bit because, we just got over being sick. We were in Orlando, which is why we didn't do a podcast for the last two races.
I know we've been completely out. And they were also really good races. It was Baku and the Canadian Grand Prix. And I mean, Baku was I felt that it was like perfect timing. Like Ferrari did so bad and we just kind of disappeared. Like we didn't even want to talk about it.
I really have no desire. Like, I don't even want to watch it if I find out that Ferrari doesn't win. I'm just like, oh man. If it's just another Max Verstappen win, I'm like, okay, well.
Right.
But they were very good races.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, but we were it was a lot going on. We were on a trip.
Yeah, we just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
We took our girls to Disney and did the whole thing. So we took our summer break, but Formula One has not yet taken its summer break. But anyway, we are back and ready to talk about what an amazing race that was.
Yeah.
I don't even remember quali. I feel like I say that every time, but
Sainz was his first pole position after 150 races, and he's like, I think it's the second time that a driver after 150 races gets first pole and first win. It's something like that.
No, it was not first pole and first win, but 150 races pole and win, because that was Verstappen in Canada.
Oh,
Verstappen in Canada had his 150th race, and he got pole and won.
I got you. All right. Well, the interesting thing about quali was, Sainz got his first pole, and it was raining, so
that's true.
It was really iffy, and out of nowhere, I mean, he wasn't being like the best one. He barely made it to Q3, and then all of a sudden he put together a perfect lap and got the fastest time and got it. So I think
there was a yellow
everybody
flag
was
at
very
the end.
surprised.
I think that Verstappen was on his way to getting pole, and then Leclerc
he slipped. He got it. He got it. He didn't get help of any flag or anything like that. He got the fastest lap just out of nowhere.
And it was a very unusual top 10. We had Latifi in the top 10.
Never doubted.
Never doubted. I had predicted Albon. I was hoping, the British drivers would do well. I had put the wrong Williams car in the top 10.
Albon, who grew up in England but represents Thailand.
Right. So I picked the wrong Williams. Who knew? And then there were some other kind of unexpected ones in the top 10. Did Mick Schumacher also?
No, I don't think so, because they started from the back. Okay. So anyway, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Good quality.
Yeah. The rain kind of threw a wrench and kind of made things interesting. So that was good.
Race day, it was actually great weather. It looked like it was a beautiful day. And the first lap, turn one, Didn't even get through the first lap. Turn 1, we had a horrific crash.
Oh yeah, it was nuts.
And that set everything off. And so I was listening to some analysis today. And so like, it was absolutely horrifying to watch Guan Yu Zhou flip over and just go completely across the entire track.
On his head.
On his head. Yeah. Thank God for the halo, or else that would have been absolutely horrific. It was horrific enough as it was. And then go over the barrier and get stuck between the barrier and the wall. So that was, I mean, like, as a spectacle, terrifying to watch. I didn't even know that anything had happened to Albon. But in terms of like danger, his was actually a more dangerous crash because of the G-force. When he hit the wall, it just went straight into his back. And so so he was required. They were saying that like the amount of pressure on Zhou's car as he was sliding was like the pressure was taken off with the gravel. I don't know how it works, but the weight and the pressure would have been taken off of him. Whereas with Albon hitting the wall with the force that he did, it was required that he go to the hospital to get checked for a concussion, but he wound up fine, thank goodness.
Both of them were fine.
But they didn't show, I mean, it's so scary when they don't show a replay and they don't show the driver getting out of the car, then you know that like, you know, they're not showing it because it could be grisly, and that's always very scary.
Yeah. I think most of the drivers were really, every time anybody will get interviewed, they were like, first of all, I'm happy that, you know, Zhou and Albon are fine, and you know,
I really appreciated that with Verstappen. I thought that was like a very world champion response when they were
Verstappen is growing on us.
Yeah,
it
was a very mature response when they asked him, you know, like his opinions of the race, because they were specifically asking him, like, you know, how do you feel about coming in 7th or whatever place that he did after everything that happened. And he immediately was talking about, you know, the safety and thank goodness for the halo and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and how he belongs to Formula One and all that stuff. Yeah,
I thought that was great. And then also to see Russell immediately run over to Zhou's car as soon as he got out.
I thought that was really cool, but I also thought, like, what the hell are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, they were, I was listening, the analysis I was listening to today, they were saying that like he was trying to get, he was like hurrying people along to come and help him out or whatever, as if there weren't people hurrying. But anyway, it was a nice gesture.
I mean, he was right in front of like a whole set of bleachers of spectators. I mean, there are crazy videos from the people that were at the race.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it was great for Russell to just stop his car and run and go make sure that the guy was fine. Again, I don't think he could have done anything if it was a bad accident. It ruined his race because according to him, he thought that he could have he stopped to go check on him, but that meant that he thought that he could have continued and stay in the race.
But he turned his car off.
Turned the car off, and then the stewards grabbed it, and as soon as they touch the car, that means that you got helped and then you get disqualified. So he was actually trying to lobby for that during the red flag to see if they would allow him to, well, he had damage, first of all. So if they would allow the Mercedes mechanics to work on the car and get back in the race, but the rules were the rules, and they said no.
Interesting. So I didn't realize that was what had happened.
That messed up Mr. Real, what is it? He's not Mr. Saturday anymore.
Mr. Top 5, because that definitely ended his top 5 streak. He's finished top 5 in all the races this year.
Is it Mr. Reliable?
Mr. Reliable. Mr. Consistency or Mr.
Consistency,
Reliable?
Mr. Consistency. Yeah. So anyways, you know, that ruined that. But and the other interesting thing was that, you know, in that very first part of the race, there were a lot of changes. Latifi got ahead of 2 people. He actually got in front of the accident. Verstappen went ahead of Sainz. There were changes, but because the accident happened so early and the red flag came in before the race actually had gone through the first sector, they didn't complete a sector. So the restart was the restart of the whole race.
I see. I did not realize that that's why everything went back to how it was.
The restart was the same grid as it was when it started.
Yeah. It was a terrible start for Sainz. Yeah. That was definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, Verstappen took him real quick. And then on the second restart, actually, Sainz like showed his teeth and he kind of kept his spot because Verstappen put us just as much pressure. Yeah. But I think Sainz was more aggressive.
Was ready for it the second time around. I mean, he saw Max's cards that Max wanted to play, and Max did the exact same move, and Sainz didn't let him go through the second time around. Yeah. Of course, he had a pretty big blunder about 7 or 8 laps later, and that's when Max Verstappen passed through. And pretty much there, I was like, all right, well, that's it.
And it would have been if it wasn't for the piece of AlphaTauri that got stuck under his car.
A huge piece. Did you see it?
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, he was like, it's a bit of debris. I mean, again, the fact that he was still able to finish in the points with an extra pit stop. He had a whole extra pit stop from everybody else. And a giant piece of debris lodged in his car. And he was still able to
and that wasn't a problem with the car. You know, it was completely just unlucky. So he keeps telling you, like, I mean, the guy's at a different level to everybody else. For the field to beat him, he has to have bad luck.
Yeah.
You know?
Every time.
There's really nobody challenging because, and this goes into the conversation that we'll probably have, because he not only has the talent as a driver, which you could say like, oh yeah, Leclerc is just as talented or maybe below. You have Hamilton, but Verstappen has the talent, has a car, has a team, has a strategy, like has it all.
Which is what Hamilton had for so long.
Right, exactly. Now Hamilton is lacking the car.
Yeah.
You know, that's why he's not competitive. Leclerc
is lacking the strategy.
He's lacking the strategy. Yeah. And just like the team decisions, that he keeps getting screwed.
Oh, and this was the worst.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can talk about that. So, I mean, I don't think there is a point of like us talking about like Sainz winning his first race. He won his first race. Everybody's talking about it. Great. But I think the biggest thing here is like, what is Ferrari trying to achieve? Because first of all, you had Leclerc, who was faster than Sainz.
Even with a damaged car.
With a damaged car. And the whole race kind of got screwed up because of that safety car at the very end.
Which was Ocon.
Was it?
Yeah. Ocon's car.
Yeah, he has to stop his car, yeah. So that bunched up the field, that allowed cars to go into the pit. So it was Leclerc first. Who was second? It wasn't Perez at that time.
It was Sainz.
Leclerc, Sainz.
Leclerc and Sainz switched.
Leclerc and Sainz. So Ferrari had a 1-2, and then you have behind them, you have Hamilton, Perez, and Norris. And with the safety car, all the cars except Leclerc were able to come in, and Norris didn't stop either. But the second, third, and fourth stop at a pit, got soft tires, and improved their chances of doing something good. Ferrari, instead of bringing in their leader or like their first car, because they had time to make that decision, but instead of bringing Leclerc in, they decided to take Sainz in. So I think there are a couple of different ways to look at it. So Binotto, the manager of the team, of Ferrari, he said that the decision was that they didn't have time to double stack.
And they wanted to preserve the track position for Leclerc.
Correct. Which was stupid. Like, what do you mean? You have a restart with a safety car. Like the next car behind him is gonna be really close.
Yeah.
Like it's not a virtual safety car, it's like anyways. But
you have to show some faith in your driver that if he does pit and wind up losing his, top position, that he'll be able to fight back
with a better car. Yeah. So that was Binotto's. That's apparently what Ferrari thought. That he had a chance. But I mean,
in other words, they're going after constructors' points.
So then looking at it that way, by keeping by bringing in Sainz, who's the slower car, giving him the faster tires and putting back in a second position, then you increase your chances of him obviously doing well and Leclerc hopefully not falling too far down. Therefore, you're maximizing the amount of points that you get if you cannot double stack.
Right.
Now, obviously, you go into like the hypotheticals. What if they did double stack? Like, where would Sainz would have come in? You know, would he be behind Norris? Would he be behind whoever was 6 or whatever? And then by bringing Sainz and giving him the faster tires, then they achieve that. They achieve probably maximizing the points for the constructors, because if you bring, instead of Sainz, Leclerc wins the race, but Sainz, with even older hard tires than Leclerc, probably the way that he was going, he would probably fail to maintain his position, and he would have been behind Norris, I would think.
I think they were hoping that Leclerc would wind up at least on the podium,
right,
in third.
He fought like crazy. I mean,
he was
really
amazing.
He did really well with what he had.
Up against Perez and Hamilton with fresh softs on both of them. And he has a damaged car and old hard tires. He was amazing.
Yeah. But that tells you that, you know, that that's why Ferrari may not win. Like at least not the drivers' championship.
Yeah.
And I feel that in a way, if you pay attention to the drivers' championship and you try to get one of your drivers to win that, like other teams have done in the past, obviously Verstappen last year, before it was always Hamilton, you know, Bottas was second fiddle, like no question about it. But by you having that very competitive first driver, you bring your second one in and you score points.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm sure, you know, we saw after the race how like Binotto was scolding Leclerc. I mean, Leclerc has to be extremely pissed. I mean, this is his chance. And I hope that there is like very heated conversations about this and they are able to figure out what needs to be done in order to win.
Yeah, I hope Leclerc is not just towing the company line, because I know he loves Ferrari. I know he loves being there.
Right.
But like, they failed him.
They continue to fail. I mean, it's not the first time. It's not the first time.
This was the first time that it felt like they did it on purpose. Like they've made some dumb decisions before and it failed Leclerc terribly, but it felt like it was just bad decision making. This was bad decision making on purpose.
Yeah.
Like bad decision making for Leclerc and his race.
Like the strategy was just not favoring Leclerc.
They knew what they were doing and it was purposefully not favoring
and with this, now they have Verstappen first, Perez second, and Leclerc third. So he now fell. He was so far ahead and now he's third.
Yeah. It sucks. It sucks so bad. And like, as we go further into the season and upgrades are coming in and they're tweaking the cars and everything, I mean, like, it feels like Red Bull just gets strong. Their car just gets stronger and stronger. It was by far and away the fastest car of the weekend. It was just unlucky. Yeah. So, I mean, look at Perez. Yeah, I mean, he was in 17th.
So at the beginning of the race, he actually was the one that crashed with Leclerc. He also damaged his wing. Red Bull decided to bring him in while Ferrari kept Leclerc out. Also tells you, like, fuck Ferrari, check your damn car, because with damage, you're just fast. So fix it, you know, like your car intact is slower than your car with a crash on. So
it just shows that they don't have the faith in their drivers that I feel like they should. I mean, the fact that they pit Perez, they fixed his car, and he drove his way from 17th up to second place. It was amazing. It was amazing to watch. And and that wasn't even the coolest thing of the weekend. Like, I feel like on any other weekend, watching Perez's performance would have been like the highlight of, but we just are getting around to talking about it because.
Well, I mean, these race has so many things. So I mean, that was great. And it tells you, like, you know, again, how good of a team Red Bull is. Obviously, they take their chances and they got lucky, because if there wasn't a safety car, he doesn't finish second because he got a free.
They
free
do
stop.
take their chances. They take risks in a way that Ferrari just doesn't. Ferrari's super old school, it seems.
Very conservative, and it doesn't work. Yeah. So that's the Ferrari. So we'll see with the coming race now, and then I don't know. We'll see how things go. I mean, I'm sure this is gonna excellent for Sainz because I mean, same thing. We even during this race at that point when he was leading and had Verstappen's pressure behind him, he choked and he made a mistake out of nowhere, and he got passed by Verstappen.
Way off.
Yeah, he was lucky that he was able to get the first place again later on because of Verstappen's bad luck.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like Sainz. I don't like him more than Leclerc, but I don't think that Sainz is it.
He doesn't have the racecraft that Leclerc has.
At least not right now.
Yeah.
Maybe with this win, he gets a little bit of like, you know, like I can do it. And
yeah, and now we can stop talking about his win. Like
because I mean, he's been like so close. You know, he's been second. He's had chances before, but this is it. Like he won his race. Now we can see what he does.
Yeah.
So
it was fun.
Yeah.
It was very fun. That last little bit. I mean, we haven't even talked about the battle between Hamilton and Perez and Leclerc a whole lot.
Leclerc, it was like
just having
three
like
cars
the three cars trading. I was like, they're gonna crash. They're gonna crash. Like seeing three side by side. You see two side by side, and that's enough to like put your heart in your throat. But to see the three and they're turning, and oh my gosh,
and they passing each other. Like it was really cool. Obviously, it was
so
cool
fun
to see Hamilton on the mix, and I mean, he had a chance to win too.
I was loving watching him get up there. I mean, it again shows the talent, you know, with his racecraft. He was very polite. Perez was, you know, running people off the road, and Hamilton just doesn't do that. Like he just doesn't drive that way, and so I feel like he got kind of pushed around a little bit because he's not aggressive. He's a polite driver. So, but he doesn't have like the luxury of having the nice car to be able to do that anymore.
Right. Yeah. So that was cool.
There's a lot of talk about people running people off the road. You know, Perez running Leclerc and Hamilton off, and Verstappen running Mick off at the end, but they just didn't seem to be calling anything, and that was actually really nice. That like there weren't it would have been a different race if people were being given
I think that what you want to see is that you want to see consistency. If you're gonna call a penalty, I think that was the problem last year. There was a lot of like calls at one point, but no calls at another point. If you're gonna call all of them. If you're not gonna call, just don't call any of them.
Yeah, and that was nice. They just weren't doing it.
Yeah, so that was really good. You mentioned that was the other cool thing about the race. Mick Schumacher finally got his points, and he got into a real battle with Verstappen.
Oh
which, you know, it was cool to see.
Yeah, to see, you know, can he race?
Yeah,
because usually he's just.
And that put both of the Haas in the points, and they started in the back. They started like 16 and 17. I mean, they had to fight their way up into the points. Now there were 6 cars that they got retired.
and friggin' Ricardo ended second to last.
Ricardo, I'm done with Ricardo.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, but that's it. I mean, I have little hopes.
Yeah. Not even worth talking about, except for the fact that, you know, second to last, and there were 6 cars gone.
Yeah.
So that was sad. But yeah, it was, and now, you know, Haas is pretty far above Aston Martin.
Yeah. So I mean, they're up there. I think it's Williams last, Aston Martin second to last, and then Haas.
Because Vettel was in the points this time too.
Yeah, and there's a little bit now, like the midfield is very well defined with Haas, AlphaTauri, McLaren, and Alpine kind of like fighting it off. So that's good to see.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah.
I hope that we get more like that this season. And it was fun to see afterwards. Everybody seemed like they were all in such a good mood to see that, you know, their friends survived the crazy crash, and there was a lot of good fun racing. We watched the after show, there was this very wholesome interview with Mick and Vettel, just, you know, being chums, like brothers. It was very cute. So
yeah,
definitely a good weekend.
Yeah, it was a good race to get back to.
Where are we going next weekend?
So it's Austria,
which will be fun. Home turf for Max. They did not like him in Britain.
No, they did not. And last year they raced twice in Austria, which was a huge. I mean, last year Verstappen won by like 30 seconds ahead.
Yeah, that's
right.
He
crushed everybody.
That's right. And it was 3 weekends in a row. It was like Austria, Holland.
Yeah, it was like boom, boom, boom. So we'll see if they're able to challenge the Red Bulls in their home turf. You know, obviously they're gonna have a lot of support. So
they took Ferrari in Italy. So
yeah. Ooh, can Ferrari do it?
I know.
I don't know what can Ferrari. I mean, they're just.
I guess that's why it's so fun when they do win, even though they won terribly. Like, you know, we can't expect it because the strategy is just so shit.
I know, it's just so bad. It's so bad.
At what point does Leclerc stop listening to what?
Well, that's what Sainz did in this race too, because at the restart of the safety car, they were telling him like give Charles like 10 cars of space, and Sainz is like, what the hell am I gonna do with the Red Bull and the Mercedes behind me? They're putting pressure on me. If I slow down and get him close, then what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
So he didn't, you know, he just didn't listen.
Yes. Again, at what point does Leclerc stop towing the company line and just do his own thing?
Yeah. So I mean, it's very difficult. I think it's very difficult. It's nice from our spectator point of view to have teams where like both drivers are kind of treated the same, but that creates a lot of conflict where there is no clear, like,
it's almost like they didn't have a plan. Like they didn't know what they were going to do as far as team orders with the two of them.
Well,
like
yeah, because then like it's like they don't want to favor one or the other, you know, and then nobody wants to like get, I don't know, chewed up by one of the drivers. I don't know. Like, again, if it's Red Bull and it's Max or Perez, like Max is gonna be benefited. Like they're driving for Max, and that's, and there is no question. And Perez is gonna bitch and complain about it, but
that's just the way it is. If you want to drive for Red Bull, that's how it is.
Right. So it's easier to make decisions. Yeah, it's easier to make decisions if you have you know, a ladder of like who's first, who's second.
Yeah. And they don't. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So we'll see. I think I'm hoping that there is a lot of heated conversations at the Ferrari home and they are able to sort it out.
Yeah. Do you know what city the Austrian Grand Prix is in?
No, I'm not sure.
I was going to look up the weather, but well, we'll see. We'll see what the weekend brings.
Like a weekend, yeah. I mean, you have too many days ahead to know.
It's not that far ahead, but we will see.
Things change, and they're like by the mountains, so that also can change.
That's true.
But yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we got, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at homepositionf1@gmail.com or reach out to us on Twitter at homepositionf1. Same thing for Instagram at homepositionf1. Let us know if you disagree, if you agree. We want to hear from you. Let us know what you want to hear from us.
And also, like, you can contact us. We are always looking for guests.
Yeah.
If you would like to chat with us and be part of one of the podcasts, we'll do a Zoom and we'll talk. I mean, it's nice to hear other people's points of view. It helps us also kind of see F1 from a different perspective, because obviously we have our favorites, and we, you know, this is not a podcast that we're like like trying to be NPR and be fair to everybody. And like we have our favorites, obviously, and we like drivers more than others and teams more than others, but not everybody has the same opinion. So if we can bring somebody in, and like Bobby was here a few episodes ago, and obviously he's a RedBull fan, and we have Marisa, who's a Bottas fan, Alfa Romeo fan. So though she does like Ferrari a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you feel like you would like to be part of the podcast and help us out, just reach out and we can try to set something up.
Yep. Perfect. All right.
All right. See you later, guys.